Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-travelling toy collector, and this is the Transformers the Movie Studio Series 86, Issue 14, Junkheap, the Junkion Junkheap from the Transformers the Movie, here in his sort of post-legacy packaging. I say that because there's no window, so as we can see, he's exposed to the elements. And we'll get into looking at the figure itself in a moment, but it's already looking like an awful lot of very good detail on there. So first of all, let's check out the packaging. On the front there's a lovely piece of artwork of Junkheap looking like he's about to do his national singing competition audition. Very, very nice, just doing his vocal warm-up. Great. Studio Series Junkheap, Autobot insignia, Transformers, Generations, Takumi Tara, nice close-up of him there on the side. Here on the back we have the traditional product shots of Junkheap in Junkion robot mode and in his Junkion cycle mode. And there we have one of the key features that I think really makes this range pop, is that diorama that is included in the box. So that's it really for the packaging. Thank you very much. Now let's work the magic, get him and the backdrop out and take it from there. Don't touch that dial. And here we are. So that's Junkheap out of the box and looking very colourful in his sort of traditional Junkion colours. Let's get him in hand straight away, we can see. Before we do that, there's the diorama in position. You can obviously have it with these bits folded back. I'm just trying to get a boost of colour because sometimes this white background, it's lovely, but it's a bit samey. So here we have Junkheap, and as we can see, well, a very nice face sculpt. Not that much going on, but he's got some nice red, a nice red visor that's sort of fixed there, with his little bendable earpieces there that are arguably designed to make us think they are much like the Wreck-Gar figure was, the steering handlebars of the cycle mode, which we've seen in original figures. And I just, you know what, I was like, I don't really know any of the other Junkion characters, so I was a bit reluctant, but because I've committed to collecting the Studio Series 86 range, I thought I don't have anywhere to go with this. I've got to pursue it to the bitter end. But having him in hand, it's actually a really solid, really nice figure. There's a bit of waffling here. There's a bit of sort of hollow space here and here. You can see that. And again, there's a bit here in the arms. But again, some of this links directly to the need for space in order to be able to do the transformation. Some of it, not so much. It's just a bit empty. But overall, from a posability point of view and a photographic point of view, there's a lot of good stuff here. I think my biggest complaint, and it's probably made more by the fact the rest of it isn't, and that'll make sense in a second, is the ab connector is really loose. There's a lot of looseness in that waist, and that's also true of this transformation joint that's here. It literally pops forward just like that. So when it's tabbed in, it doesn't stay there, which is a bit of a nuisance. It's a bit of a nuisance. It may be a unique foible of my copy. It may not be that it's in everybody's, but it is there, and I'm very conscious, I'm posing the legs, because you've got the full range of articulation that you would expect to see in a figure of this nature. So there's no skimping on articulation per se. I just have to point out that it's almost over articulated when it comes to the ab crunch area. It's a little bit too loose, and it makes handling it a frustration. I don't know what that'll do when I come to actually transforming it up, but yeah, otherwise it's a really strong figure. We can check some of the detailing. You can see there for yourself. We've talked about the head sculpt. That body sculpting is really, really nice. It's not too complex, which, it's sort of a mid-range level of surface detailing, but there is surface detailing. He's got pipes rather than the nipple guns that we tend to associate with Junkions. got spikes on his shoulders, which I really like. I really like that attention to detailing. He's very punk. He's got the spikes on the wheels and spikes through the wheels. He's got some very nice arm detailing, so we don't necessarily think that they are hollow. He's got this shield here, which has got a sort of cannon built into the shield there, if you can see that. It's very nicely done. He comes with a sort of traditional Junkion weapon in terms of that sort of blade axe, and again with the armor on the arms. The legs are quite well detailed. The detailing follows it through on the inside. You get all the, as I've mentioned, all the expected elements of articulation. The feet, you've got ankle tilt there, and there is some filling in, so it's not just a clean cut here. It is that you can actually see some infill there. Again, I've mentioned where some of the waffling is, so I won't bore you with that. We've got this nice, relatively clean backpack area, so there's not an awful lot of body kibble. Similar here, it's a very unfortunate set of posts, but such is life. Again, a little bit of spacing here at the feet, as you can see there, but I think we can allow that because there's some, you need mobility, and it's got to transform. So you can't have a panel over everything, I guess, particularly at this sort of price point. It would be nice if they could, but it would be probably unrealistic. So overall, Junkheap, very nicely coloured, that middle thing is really bugging me. But you know, it lends itself to some nice photography, so I'm not going to moan about it, despite what it sounds like. So yeah, I really am a fan of this figure. I think it's great. I think it stacks up well with the other Junkions that we've seen, whether they're in the Legacy line or they're in the Studio Series 86 line, and I know we've got more to come, so that's exciting. But let's see what he looks like in his vehicle mode. Don't touch that dial! Did you touch the dial? I have a feeling you might have touched the dial. Anyway, welcome back. I've just transformed Junkheap up into his Junkion cycle mode, and I'm going to tell you, it wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun-filled experience. I was convinced this is wrong because there's quite a bit of gapping in here, and also there was a bit of a challenge for, well, I experienced certainly a bit of a challenge in following the instructions, which, you know, is not that unusual for me, but I actually ended up having to go with some other pictures and stuff to get it lined up because I had a real issue with the chest compartment, fitting the head compartment in. There's a couple sort of double jointed connectors around the seats, which is inside the chest, and I won't overly bore you with it now, but suffice it to say, in my opinion, the instructions were not very clear, and it left me feeling a bit uncomfortable and timid about some of the transformation of this piece into this mode. Even now, it's still not staying where it should do because you see the wheels there is popping out. That's now back in place. So yeah, I love the robot mode. I'm not so enamoured with the vehicle mode, and if I never transform him into vehicle mode again, I could probably live with that. That said, now he's in vehicle mode, he's chunky. He's a chunky, see, it's not quite, yeah, it's just a few bits that for me didn't really work. It rolls fine, doesn't really hold, see, everything's popping out, and it could be me. I'm sure it is me. People will be very quick to tell me it's me and I've not transformed it correctly, but I've done my utmost trying to follow the instructions, and often the instructions are really cool, really easy to follow, great, all of the rest of it. This was not for me one of those experiences, so you can see it's a crouched up robot, which of course is what you're going to get, so I'm not going to be down on it, but for me, the experience, and there's some lovely gimmicks. There's some lovely gimmicks with the canopy, the way the whole canopy section is concealed. When you finally manage to get the head inside, you can see those dials there. You've got the faux. That's obviously the back of Junkheap's head, but you've got the faux handlebars there and the actual handlebars here. So that's nice how it does actually fit in there. There's a few nice details like that. but yeah, it's not sitting for me how it should be. But I mean, so hopefully you can see it does. You know, the wheels do connect with the floor very well. It rolls very well for, you know, as well as an alien motorcycle with spiky wheels can roll. You've got storage for the battle axe that can go here at the end, and it just sort of clips on there, and very nice it is too. There's the flip out. There's a couple of flip out stands there that help keep the bike stabilized, so you can display it should you wish to. You know, it's filled in places, and I get that it's, you know, see again, it's come out of the front. You try and fix it one place and it destabilizes it somewhere else. So I'm sure it's me, and I'm sure I've tried to rush it. That's not unusual. So I will probably spend some time away from here just double checking what I did, etc, etc. Much of it's okay. It's just some of that middle section with the head, the chest, and the sort of the driver's canopy bit. That for me doesn't gel how it should. I'm very self-conscious of this gap here, but there's a similar one in the Dinobots. But there's not much you can do when you've got that circular thing and there's no notch for it. So there's no way to. It can't be that. But I would have. There's just some. I don't know. There's some aesthetics around the transformation that don't really rest with me as nicely as they could, which is a shame because I do like the Junkion aesthetic, and the colour scheme is fantastic. I really, really like it, and I look forward to having more of them, of course, in the range. And as I say, it could well have just been me. It could just be very unfortunate. But I'm very, it just doesn't want to stay held together, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to accept that. I'm gonna have to transform it again. But ultimately, this is Junkheap in his bike mode. You do get some nice panel detailing. You get the spikes out there. You do have a seating area for that will probably fit other appropriate Junkions or appropriate Autobots. The stands are a nice addition, so it gives you a bit of stability. I do like the detailing that happens in there. So the head pops up. You get the head inside there, so you can see that that level of detailing. Hopefully, it will focus on it. There you go. It's better. And there's the petrol gas canister there. So it works in terms of it being a, you know, it's an alien motorcycle design, and that's good because that's what it looks like, and it's certainly what it feels like. I'm more of a fan of the robot mode, so as soon as we're done here, it's going straight back. Well, I say straight back. I might need to take a minute just to de-brain freeze myself from the experience. It wasn't one of my favourite transformations. It wasn't that it was overly complicated, because it didn't look complicated, but the execution of it, and it could have been me, but the execution of it is not clear. I think some of the instructions around which bit fits into where, not so great from my point of view. Others may have found it absolutely simple, and great if you did, but I'm just trying to give my perspective. My perspective was it wasn't that great, it wasn't that simple, and I don't know how super pleased I am with the end result. Again, I think for whatever, I'll be storing Junkheap in his robot mode, which I'll attend to momentarily. So what do we think? Do we think Junkheap belongs in your collection? Well, if you are collecting Studio Series 86, then yes, it does, because it's a different mold. It's a heavily retooled Wreck-Gar with some very different elements of transformation in places and some nice additional paneling. Again, not to detract from it, I do think some of the panel detailing and the gun now pointing to the back is a nice touch. I think some of the exposed engine area in there is a nice touch. I think the general Junkion aesthetic is a nice touch. I like all of it, you know. I do. I'm very conscious that there doesn't appear to be an Autobot symbol anywhere on him. And we did get, I think if I remember rightly, we did get one on Wreck-Gar, but I might now be inventing that because it was a while since I took him out. So I don't know whether that's going to be a theme or a trend with future Junkions. I know we've got Axel Grease coming up shortly, who identifies as being a Decepticon Junkion, so she's due to be released imminently. So I think she has a badge, Decepticon badge on her. So it's whether these Junkion colonists do or don't have insignia moving forwards. It'll be fun to find out. Anyway, thank you for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a fantastic audience. And this has been the Studio Series 8614 Junkheap from Transformers the Movie, and part of the overall brilliant, I think, Studio Series 86 range. And I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video. And in the meantime, please do remember that the thing of beauty, yes, even you, Junkheap, really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.